What local governments can't do by themselves, they can do together. That's why the Rogue Valley Council of Governments, or RVCOG, exists. They offer a variety of programs across the valley. RVCOG Senior and Disability Services provides guidance and assistance to seniors struggling with mental health issues. That's the topic of conversation on today's Mental Health Matters, our joint project with the Southern Oregon chapter of the National Alliance on Mental Illness. NAMI Southern Oregon's Andra Hollenbeck hosts the segment. She speaks once again with behavioral health specialist Denninger about mental health issues like isolation that present challenges to seniors.
Well, hello, and hope all is going well with you today. You're listening to Mental Health Matters on the Jefferson Exchange with the Jefferson Public Radio and NAMI Southern Oregon. I'm Andra Hollenbeck with NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness, Southern Oregon. When we talk about health, we cannot address complete health without caring for our mental health. On this program, we highlight mental health issues in our community and ways we can improve mental health for everyone. Today, we're talking about mental health concerns that develop for older people. We have with us Denninger from Rogue Valley Council of Governments and Senior and Disability Services. Ellen works as a behavioral health specialist for Senior and Disability Services. So, good morning, Ellen.
Good morning, Andra. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for joining us again on the program. Would you tell us a little bit about Rogue Valley Council of Governments, or RVCOG, and what your role is in it?
Certainly. So I work at the program called Senior and Disability Services at RVCOG, and we are what's called an area agency on aging. Each county in Oregon has one, and it's to provide programs and services to support older adults and people with disabilities. We cover both Jackson and Josephine counties.
Okay. So what are mental health concerns? Often there are different kinds of mental health concerns at different ages. So what are some of the particular mental health concerns that might come up for someone as they age?
Certainly. So as people age, they stop working, they're at home more, without the structure of work to give meaning and purpose to their lives. So oftentimes they may fall into some depression around this and feel some sense of loneliness and social isolation.
And what are the things to watch out for as we age? How are ways that we can prevent this kind of depression and loneliness that might just come from some of the natural things that happen as we grow older?
Yes. So staying connected is extremely important, whether that means connected to social opportunities in your community, staying in contact with family, because families tend to live very far apart these days. Mm-hmm. Separate states, separate countries even. So older adults may have less family in their lives. As you age, your friends die. Mm-hmm. And so you have to continue to make new friends and make sure you're participating in social activities, even if it's remotely. I think during the pandemic, we learned that older adults are able to learn some level of technology so they can do things remotely.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that. Does it offer us the same kind of social benefit as in-person kinds of activities?
I think probably ideally a combination of both. Mm-hmm. They both serve a function and a purpose, but we all know in-person contact, that back and forth togetherness just can't be replaced.
Yeah, this is so true. So I heard you say connection is important as we age, to make sure that we're making connections with our family, making new friendships. What can impede someone from being able to do that? What are some of the obstacles that get in the way from people really taking an active role in making sure they have good mental health?
So older adults, especially from the older generations, are really afraid of being a burden to their families. Mm. So if they're living alone and the children are having their own work lives and raising their own children, they tend to hesitate to reach out and ask for the kind of connection and contact that they really need.
Mm-hmm. So just a reluctance to overburden people. So you're listening to Mental Health Matters on the Jefferson Exchange. I'm Andra Hollenbeck with NAMI Southern Oregon. We're speaking with Ellen Denninger from the Rogue Valley Council of Governments and Senior and Disability Services on particular mental health concerns as we age. So what is the connection with mental health and other health concerns? Like I'm thinking about dementia or other physical concerns that come along with aging. What's that connection between those kinds of, I don't know, as, you know, I'm just kind of wondering, are there physical things that happen to us as we age that makes it more difficult then to maintain positive mental health?
Absolutely. Mobility issues are the first thing that, people aren't able to drive to social opportunities. A lot of older adults use walkers. It's not
Right.
easy to put that walker in and out of your car and do all the activities that you're used to doing.
Yeah.
So that can interfere and make people feel more depressed. They can't do what they used to do, and more lonely and isolated because they're spending more time at home.
So it sounds like it's really important for us to be conscious about those sorts of things and try to take some actions to overcome those inclinations to kind of hunker down and maybe not go out or not make those connections, but and maybe be okay with being a burden on your family. So what are some programs locally that help elders as they're struggling with mental health concerns? So I think you have Opal and Pearls.
Yeah. So let me start with PEARLS, which stands for Program to Encourage Active and Rewarding Lives for Seniors. It's a free program that we provide in Jackson and Josephine counties, and we come to people's homes. We do home visits. If they prefer we don't, we can do sessions over the phone or by Zoom. But we focus on problem solving. We have them make a list of all the challenges that they're facing. And each week we have up to 8 sessions to meet. We choose one problem and we break it down into really small pieces. So say an example might be insomnia is often a common problem of older adults. We break that down into, okay, what are some steps you can take, whether that's medication or sleep hygiene, how do you establish a routine of when you go to bed at night? So we break these down to small pieces that people can tackle a whole lot easier because these problems can be very overwhelming. And when you're overwhelmed, you tend to shut down and not feel like doing anything about it.
Yeah, that kind of speaks to what we were talking about before, that there's actions you can take, but sometimes it's hard to get that going. And this program sounds like it helps with that.
Yeah. Another part of that program is we help people identify pleasurable physical and social activities that they can either do at home or in the community. Because doing these activities acts like a natural antidepressant for the brain.
Oh.
It gives all that nice dopamine, serotonin by being able to accomplish things. You know, that good feeling you have when you've done something that was hard and you had it as a goal.
Yeah.
It feels really good, and it actually sends those chemicals to your brain.
Oh, great. So how can people find out more about these programs or avail themselves of getting some of that help? Like if someone notices that they're a little low energy, having some depression, how would one start to make contact?
Certainly. So we have a program in our community called the Aging and Disability Resource Connection.
Okay.
It's a call line that anybody, an older adult or a person with a disability, can call and find out about resources in the community, whether that's behavioral health needs, transportation needs, housing questions, how do I figure out my Medicare? We have a database of all the resources in the community that we can refer people to.
Oh, that sounds wonderful.
Pearls and Opal is part of that. People can get referred through that call line.
And then do organizations how do you keep that up to date? I'm just kind of curious. Do organizations come to you if they have a service that might be particular for the older people? They'll come to you and you'll add that to your database?
Absolutely. We have them fill out an application with all of their information and we add it to the database.
Excellent. So If we see that someone, an older adult, may be isolating or struggling with their mental health, what are some things that we can do as a friend or a family member? How can we help in that situation?
Sure. Establishing regular contact, set up a day, maybe every Sunday afternoon. I have a friendly phone call with this friend, or there's also the Senior Loneliness Line. It's a statewide call line. You can call any time of day or night and have a friendly conversation. Just hearing a human voice sometimes can really boost someone's mood.
Oh, yes, that's wonderful. We have mental health issues that crop up. If someone has one of the serious, persistent mental health conditions, how is that affected by aging? Do you have any ideas on that? Like if someone had, like bipolar, their whole life, and then as they age, they still have it, obviously, but then how is that? Is it treated differently as one ages? Is it something that one needs to do something differently as you age?
Well, I think having those coping skills at any age, of course, how do I manage my depression? How do I manage my anxiety? And each individual comes up with what works for them.
Right.
Is socializing beneficial, or is it more relaxing for me to be at home alone doing my creative art or whatever?
Right.
So finding outlets for expression, interaction, and meeting those needs is really individual.
And it sounds like your program, if someone was having a hard time with figuring out what is it that I should do next to kind of make sure I'm staying on track, your program might be able to help them out with that as well.
Especially our OPAL program, which stands for Options for People to Address Loneliness. A major part of that program is connecting people to those resources in the community. We talk about OLLI classes, if they want to participate in those. Any kind of hobby group or support group or activity. We have them actually schedule these activities each week. We have up to 6 sessions to meet with them. They'll schedule pleasurable social and physical activities, and then that motivates them to follow through. There's accountability.
To keep on going with those and not let them drop off. Because I imagine as one gets older, there's a lot of things that will drop off or drop away. And if there's something that drops away, like you say, a friendship or a family member moves away, it's important to figure out something to replace that with.
Yes. And I also, in older adults, having realistic expectations. So I can't do what I used to do, but I can modify what I used to do that gave me pleasure. I can do it in smaller, different ways, or I can learn to do new things that I haven't tried before.
Yeah. Or develop a new hobby or a new activity. Yes, that's probably also really important. Okay, well, I really appreciate your being with us today. I'm Andra Hollenbeck. We've been speaking with Ellen Denninger from the Rogue Valley Council of Governments and Senior and Disability Services, particularly about the Pearls and Opal program. And I imagine they can find out more about that from rvcog.org. Is that the right website?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. You can find out more about NAMI Southern Oregon at our website, namisouthern.org, or you can email us at info@namisouthern.org. This is Mental Health Matters. Thanks for joining us today. You can find this and other interviews at jeffexchange.org or subscribe to this podcast at Apple, Spotify, or wherever you might get your podcasts.